What you want to talk about? Yep, you can find it here. Message Monday, bringing love and joy into the atmosphere. Ain't no profanity, we keep the gospel clean. Ensuring all praise goes to Yeshua, my king. We talk about news, we talk about faith. A podcast for men so we can all be great. Join in the conversations with topics of your choice. My opinion doesn't matter if you don't hear God's voice. We lifting up the people, we counteracting evil. Be respectful in your comments, so please keep it civil. Message Monday. Hey, let's go. Hello, 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 beautiful people. I know it has been a while since you all have heard the intro, seen your boy's face, but it is me, Tony Briscoe, live. And I have some dope people with me. I got to introduce the sisters first. We have Sister Robin Ewing with us tonight, and she's going to drop some knowledge for us on the importance in our community of having life insurance. So she gonna drop some game for us and share some nuggets of what folks can do. But I also have here my man who is no secret to a lot of people in my circle, Mr. Opinionated, Mr. Antwan McHenry Belmer. And I've never asked him how he got that long name, so we may bring that up on tonight too. But with all that being said, hey, how you beautiful people doing tonight?
Doing well. So excited for being here. Thank you for having me on the show. Thanks for Ton for inviting me. I'm looking forward to just talking to you all and having a good time.
All right, sounds good. Antwan, what's good, man?
What's up, Tony Bisco? What's going on? Just trying to wind the year down. In my second week of Christmas break, which typically goes at light speed, so I'm just trying to slow it down just a little bit and get some things done and plan.
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, no, that's good, man. I got to tell you something. I got put on blast for. We'll talk about that too. But man, and so first of all, everybody have an understanding. I always start off in prayer, so let me do that, and then we'll go right into the show. So, Father, we thank you for this evening. Thank you for bringing us together with Robin and with Antwan being here. We just pray that people will gain from this conversation as we close out the year. And thank you for your goodness and your love and watching over us. A lot of funerals coming up from last week to this week, Lord. And we just pray that you are with those families who are, and particularly who are mourning during this time of year and during this season, especially those who are going into the year first holidays, first festivities, first celebrations, first birthdays without their loved one, Lord, that you will be with them and wrap your arms around them and keep them comforted. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So, family, everybody should know this is Message Monday's final broadcast. And I know that is loaded for a lot of people. I will explain some reasons as to why. I have spent a majority of this year not in alignment. And when I started grad school, I didn't anticipate how much time it would really take away from me doing those things that I really love to do, like hosting this show and leading this show. And so I've been off the air, Antwan, 2.5 months, 3 months, probably. It's been a good length of time. And that's what people who supported this show, like Antwan, man, for the last, I want to say 8 years, almost 7 or 8 years at least. I've recorded over 150 shows. And so part of this discontinuation of the show is I just need to rebrand, and I need to spend some time just centralizing before I come back on the air again. More than likely, I'll be doing some things on TikTok, but I haven't even mapped that out yet. And that's what I'll be doing the rest of the week. Just planning and strategizing of how I want to carry out next year. But I am just grateful for the support that I have had over the years, that from my wife, her sacrifices, my daughter, who's been away at school doing her thing anyway. So, but I'm just grateful for the people. I think the most views we had on here one time was 18, but I'm grateful for my cousin Fred, who always shows up, my mom, who always showed up, and the people who always showed up. Antwan may not have been able to stay long on the broadcast, but he was always chat, send a message, and just be a part of the conversation. So I appreciate those things, you all, but I'm trying to live. I want to live 2026 different than I did 2025. And in order to do that, I've got to step back and just focus on alignment. I will be in grad school all the way through 2027, 2028. That is going to take up a majority of my time. And one of the things people have asked, well, how does grad school align with your work? You've been in IT for almost 30 years now. How does grad school align with your work? And there is an opportunity that I missed last year by not having a master's degree, where I could have become an adjunct professor teaching high school students on generative AI. And I thought to myself, if that opportunity presents itself again, I don't want to miss it, because I believe in pouring into the younger generation and the older generation if they want to learn too. And I'm not an AI expert, but I can take information, filter it, and I can break it down in a way that's chewable and digestible for people. And so I was like, man, so I work at a university. I work at UIC, and that's public information. So it's not like, a private company I work for. But, one of the things I started there last year, and one of the things they talked about was, hey, there's an expectation that if you're going to be working at a university, Tony, that you pursue higher ed education. And so if we're paying for it, there's just an expectation that we have for you to take advantages of the educational opportunities that we have. And so I have to put in that work. And what more of a way to show forth to our young people who are hearing that you don't need a college degree, that you don't need to go to college. And while I understand where all of that comes from, there's still a benefit for having it. And college is really networking and exposure. Just being in grad school this past semester, I was exposed to 4 applications, and 2 of them I've never used in my life and never heard of them. And I was able to first build my first app using what they call vibe coding or generative coding. I built my first app as part of my capstone project for the end of the semester. I would not have been able to do that without being exposed to it. And that's what college gives you, access and exposure. And so I'm going to always push education. Like if it's not college, I'm still going to push education. You better get a trade, something that's going to work for you. And so that's why this will be the last broadcast of Message Monday. I've got to realign finances. I've got some serious work to do this week. The wife and I are having a budget meeting this week. And so this is why this particular show in particular will be ending. I just need to align. And what's going on, Eric? And if I come back, then I come back. I'm not going to rule it out. You may hear from me on occasion if something major is happening in our world. But as far as that weekly consistency on this platform, I'm just not going to be able to do it at this time. And I know I could align my schedule into it. But, one thing, and I'll let you all chime in, so much work goes into planning a show, from topics to research. Mm-hmm. And, the podcasters that we see, there's a guy who's like, everybody start a podcast. But there's so much work that has to be done when building a podcast, from consistent topics to consistent broadcasting, sending messages out, following up with people, having an email list, having subscribers, building a YouTube or Facebook or TikTok following. There's so much work that goes into this. And when you're working a full-time job, and ministry on the side, or not even on the side, everything is ministry. You need like a partner who can come to the table with you and come up with topics. It's so much for one person to take on. I know a couple of people who have not broadcast because it's like it's been a solo show. And you can't be that. And everybody can't afford an AI assistant to go through clips and do all of these things. So it's a lot of planning that's gone into this. The money, it's not that big of a deal. StreamYard costs maybe $160 a year. If I don't eat lunch in 2 weeks, I've already paid for StreamYard for the year. But that's how close I'm going to be watching my money on this year. So that's been part of my 2025, is really just getting alignment. So Antwan, what's going on with you, man? How was 2025 for you?
2025, it started out good. I think all the year always starts out good. You plan, you strategize, you say what you're gonna do, and then I think it's like that saying that you make your plans and God laughs at you, because it pretty much, you can say what you're going to do, but then that's a whole nother plan. So I think from about January until May, early May, things were okay. Then they just kind of went haywire. My grandmother got sick, and to my knowledge, had never been sick before, but I guess I would say not vocally sick, so not like up front letting you know. She got so sick till she like passed away. Like we had her 83rd birthday, and the next week she was in the hospital, and then a couple of weeks passed, and she was gone. So then I think a week before that, one of her first cousins passed. Now 2 weeks after that, another first cousin passed, and so it just like it started out good, but then it just kind of went kind of crazy. And then, I had to kind of stop for a minute and, and see, ask myself, like, what was going on? So I would say that it started out cool, but then, like life, it changes. And you have to pivot. And then I know I mentioned in a group, the 30 Day Breakthrough earlier, it's kind of like, you just start pushing through. So, I believe in being transparent and honest, because with social media and creating content, everybody is wonderful and everything's okay and life is great and I'm making money and I'm happy. So, I mean, I wasn't like posting up everything that I wasn't trying to put on, but I also was not sharing the depth of the anger, the sadness that I was going through, because I mean, you get 3 days benevolence in your regular job, then you just have to push through. So it's been a lot of pushing through and trying to break through, and not trying to break down. So it's just, I talk to Tony all the time, talk to Robin all the time. So it was kind of like that immediate circle. Just trying to stay connected, trying to stay encouraged. And then I think it just got kind of crazy. It got to the point that bad things would happen. I wouldn't even tell anybody. I would just text Robin. I'm like, okay, somebody else died, but I wouldn't put it in the friend group, because I would be thinking in my mind, thinking like, okay, folks gonna be like, okay, Job, just to curse God and die. so I just stopped sharing. It was like, yeah, that. And so right. And Carla said, yeah, God, you make your plans and God has another plan. He laughs. So I've been moving along. So yeah. So that's 2025 in the abbreviated version.
Yeah. Robin, what about you? How has your 2025 been?
So my 2025 started with me being unemployed. And I was like, okay, Lord. Now, Antoine knows that there was a time in my life, like I would be on a job, you get 2 years pretty much out of me, and then if I'm not progressing, I'm leaving. I think I had like professional ADHD or something. Like I just couldn't stay.
Yes.
And so, and I wouldn't plan for my next move. I just always felt like God take care of the birds and the bees. He'll take care of this Robin. I'm out. I'm gonna let him do his thing. But this past, beginning of the year, I was out of work and things weren't quite working the same way. Like for me, finding something right away. But I also realized, as we talk about God laughing, at us, he was dealing with me because I had to rely on my husband. And so I know sometimes people talk about strong Black woman, being independent, and those are all good things. But at the same time, I realized previously I was working so much, having my own, that I kind of, in a place, didn't need my husband, so to speak. I never asked him for anything.
Yeah.
And I believe that, God had to take me to a valley to say, look here,
wow.
he is ahead and you need to slow your roll. And so when I was out of work, oh yeah, I had to ask for gas money. I had to ask for, certain things. And that that tapped on my pride. Like I tell y'all, that was stripping me, making me something humble. And so I'm very grateful for that experience. And eventually, God blessed me with a job working at Loyola. I do think I have a servant heart. And so being able to be, in a hospital, working with, physicians that help, those that are sick, it's definitely been a godsend to me. But it's also helped me with my marriage. Like that valley moment helped me,
Yeah.
with my marriage. And I'm so grateful for it. And oftentimes we don't look at our valley moments and are thankful for them, but I am. But
If
it
you
also,
don't mind me asking, so sorry to cut you off,
Go ahead.
Robin, but what? So I mean, that first of all, kudos to you for sharing that, because
Yeah.
the vulnerability in that statement that you made of having to depend on your husband.
Yeah.
What was that process of your humility versus your pride like during that time for you?
So in the beginning, when I came to myself, like the prodigal son, I had to come to myself and realize that I can't do this alone. Like I cried. I
Mm,
cried before having to go and ask my husband for gas money. I broke down, and he could tell something was wrong. And he was like, "What's the matter?" And I just had to come clean. And he said, "Well,
wow.
baby, I've never withheld anything from you. Why would you feel like, it was hard to come to me?" And it was all because nothing that he has ever done or said to me. It was all because in the past, I had, my full-time job, but I also did, side work. So I had extra money that I could
Yeah.
do whatever I wanted with. And
Yeah.
I just didn't need to ask. I didn't have to ask him for it.
Yeah.
But come to that point, and I realized it kept me in a very prayerful situation.
Yeah.
And so as I'm reading scriptures, I'm like, come on, Lord, for real? This what it's about. So I had to really, eat crow, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that humbling process, I had to tell him, I said, I'm just embarrassed. I said,
Mm,
I was embarrassed. I said, because, I grew up looking at strong women. I didn't really see the women in my family asking for anything. I always saw them producing and doing. So I wasn't taught on how to tap into that gentle feminine wifey side. I just
yeah.
knew these are certain things that you need to do, and you don't have to depend on a man. You make sure you always have XYZ. But then I think that helps to strip a man of
Mm,
his God-given aura and what he was built for anyway. And I
mm.
didn't realize that in the beginning. And so
Woo.
when I had to go to my husband, I even saw a joy in him being able to do something for me to take care of me. So it changed the dynamic of our marriage.
So, how long you been married, if you mind me asking?
We made 10 years in November.
I am looking forward to y'all future, because it's like you all have entered now into a new chapter and a new phase where you have this oneness that you didn't have before.
Yeah.
And maybe it looked like it, but based on you sharing, there was the side that you just kept to
Mhm.
yourself. And
Absolutely.
nothing's wrong in the marriage, but there was just still this side you kept to yourself. And it's actually listening to you, is correcting me in ways now as I think about it, because single income family. But I tell people, like, had my wife not stayed home, I couldn't do what I've done and
Mm.
what I'm able to do. If I didn't have a wife staying home with our child, I couldn't have finished college in 2019.
Come on.
I couldn't have finished two albums. I couldn't have written a book.
Mm.
I couldn't serve in ministry at the capacity that I serve in if I didn't have a wife who knows who she is. And my wife was a hustler. She believed in work,
Yeah.
and so you just helped me appreciate her in a whole new light. So thank you for sharing transparently about that
Yeah.
transformation in your marriage. That's huge. That's huge. Antwan, let's talk about 30-day breakthrough, man. So you started this how many years ago?
This is year 15.
Whoa.
It's year 15. I know. It's like but it's funny because I initially started it just I was trying to lose weight, maintain, stay healthy. So it was just pretty much pictures of me jumping rope, doing push-ups and stuff like that. So, I started to keep myself accountable, and I was just sharing my journey. Then it went on for a while. Then it kind of went dormant, and where I couldn't remember it was there, wasn't posting, wasn't interacting, and then it just popped up in a Facebook memory. And I was like, oh, it's like, what's this? And I clicked on it, and it's a group that I created. I'm like, wow. And so I thought, like, well, maybe I could start to share again, and maybe I can try to invite some friends that have goals. Because I've always, I learned through different methods and avenues that, if you've heard the thing like, okay, if you don't write a goal, it's not a goal. If it's only in your head, nobody can hold you accountable. So I figured, okay, if I got goals, I've been around, did network marketing for years. I've been around people that preach and teach, that taught accountability. And I'm like, okay, let's invite some people and let's see who wants to go on this journey together. Because I think it's easier to go on a journey together than it is alone. I love movies like Lord of the Rings and these big movies where you're going on a quest. Yes. And so I just think it's always more exciting when you're going with other people. And then oftentimes you're going to go through things that you can't go through alone and that you need to borrow somebody else's strength. So it's kind of turned into, a place where you can create a goal, report about your goal. Did you achieve the goal? Was there a hurdle that stopped you from achieving the goal? Do you need any help? And also to cheer, because it's very important to cheer for people. I've always been the kind of person that thought that everybody could win, and that's a lot of people. Some people will say that, but a lot of people don't put the action behind it. It's like, yeah, everybody can win, but I'm not going to cheer for you. You just going to cheer for me. So yeah. I wanted to create an environment where I could highlight other people and their goals. I could support them, and I just kind of jumped back in, and it's been growing. And so I've 30-day breakthrough, just something I created because if I've known Robin since we were about 13.
Oh wow!
We met like in church, but even before then, like, as both of us live on the west side of Chicago, grew up.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Wow.
Heard about that.
So there's a place called the Golden Dome in Garfield Park because our families attended the same church. So I saw her before I started going to church. So I saw her when we were little, so before 10. So whatever age that was, when her and her brothers were at the Golden Dome, I saw her then. And then I'm pretty sure I saw her in like preschool at church at some given time. So she'll tell you I have millions of ideas that sprout out of my head. And this 33 breakthrough was just another one of those ideas that I had.
Yeah. So let's talk about, so what do you hope to accomplish with the group? I mean, how many members does it have now? Over 500 now, right?
It's over 500. We're at about 566. And what's funny is because, like, I think a couple of weeks ago, I think we weren't even at 500. And I'm like, okay, let's push for 500. It's 15th year. I want 500. And of course, numerically, numbers don't always equal success or achievement, but it's important. So I just, I don't call them guests, the group members the numbers started ticking up. So I'm like, okay, so I just started inviting, and then, they have these tools in there where you can invite people and automate things. So yeah, we're about 566 right now. There's a couple of days left for the year, so it depends. We'll see how many more we get. But I was talking to one of the members for next year. I'm like, well, let's try to be ambitious. Maybe we can get 1,000 next year. So, and then numbers are also important because, like I said, I have this time in network marketing, and if you build your network, you can help more people and you can touch more people's lives. So what I found out, even if people aren't directly interacting, they're listening and they're viewing goals and other people making goals. So I just want people to know that goals don't have to be super big. They don't, because most of the time we make gigantic goals that are unachievable a lot of the time. So you can make you can break a goal down to 30 days, 15 days, weekly goals, micro goals. So the purpose of the group is just to get people to start making goals and to pursue them,
Yeah.
and grab somebody up under the arm and run with them, because
Yeah.
you've seen the movies where the person is running in the marathon and they get tired, they may hurt themselves, they may get a Charlie horse, and then they're running and they're struggling. It's basically, well, I'll run up beside you, I'll run with you, and I'll help push you along the way. So that's kind of, I just always like to help and support people. So it's just another method for me to support folks.
No, it's good, man. So I'm back in community with a community called Slay Your Goals. So I'm not sure if you all listen to WVON or not, but on Sunday mornings, there's a gentleman named Lionel Harris.
I know Lionel. I worked with his mother.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. So Slay Your Goals. I got back in membership with his team, with the community. So during COVID, Lionel would go live once a week and just really help people stay in community and provide live coaching sessions. He's been a former high-level executive in corporate who started his own business. I think him and his wife, Pam, have several businesses. I think they have over 5 businesses on their own outside of his consulting agency. And so looking forward to being back in community with them. And I think that's one of the things that I have really missed, is being consistent in community with, 30-day breakthrough, and also with the Slay Your Goals team, because I found I was at my better self. One thing that's a push is entrepreneurship. And it's, again, entrepreneurship. If you've got a podcast you were trying to build, that's entrepreneurship, right? Those things take time, money, and resources. And everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. Doesn't mean everybody shouldn't try at some point. I look at entrepreneurship like college. Like, until you try it, you don't really know what to expect or what's going to happen for you. Business this year was probably my worst year in business as an entrepreneur. And a lot of that has to do with, I learned a lot. When you have a state job, there's only so much you can do, and everything has to be tracked and shared. Even the amount of money you make has to be tracked and shared, because they want to make sure that there's nothing shady going on. And so I was just like, well, then let me just, it's, it was a good extra $4,000 or $5,000 a year, but the headache that came with that, having to do reporting, having to do records, having to get permissions, having to get things approved, and so it was a very tough year. And so again, 2026 is a year of alignment for me. One of my biggest goals, Antoine already knows, is to release an album in 2026 that's about mental health, about relationships, and it's for it'll be half hip hop. I call hip hop because I only do positive music. So half hip hop and half spoken word. And so that's the plan for my album that's going to be released next year. What's up, Cuzzo? And so again, and my cousin Sean, he's on here. This guy, he's an entrepreneur. Like, he literally every day of his life, he has to have a plan for 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This man has to have a plan for his catering business, right? Who he's got to cater to. He's got to count resources. He's got to count inventory. He's got to cook. Like, he's got to do all of this planning that he has to do. And so that takes time. He's just got drive and an entrepreneurial spirit out of this world, And so for 2025, the end of the year, just December went crazy for me. It went straight bonkers, lost a lot of saints at church, lost my spiritual mom, one of them. And it's heavy. My wife got rear-ended, car got totaled. It was just like it was like a series of events that just went crazy. And again, I'm grateful. My wife was not even injured, at all, after being rear-ended. I'm grateful, but it's just like, man, life does happen. Life comes fast. I don't know if you all have noticed this. One of the things I've noticed in 2025, outside of the world just being crazy, everywhere, from the Sudan to Stony Island. Cars are no longer obeying traffic lights at an astronomical rate. I can say that over the last week, if I had taken off when that light turned green, I would probably be dead. Even today, when I was leaving out to go pick my wife up, the light turned green, and I just sat there for a good 4 seconds, and an SUV came. The light was already green for a good 4 seconds, and I just sat there. And that truck came, and I'm like, man, he would have T-boned me on my driver's side and just could have killed me instantly. I'm noticing that the world has just gone crazy. People are not obeying traffic signs anymore. And I think 2025 for Chicagoans, I mean, it's just been insane, the things that we've had to witness, from the murder of a kid sitting in his house playing a video game, minding his own business, not expecting a bullet to come through his window, a woman being set on fire, on the train, to a gentleman setting himself on fire last week on the train, our young people who have attacked senior citizens on the train, our young women who have robbed people at night point on the train. I mean, it's just been like so much chaos. Well, let me correct that. There's been a lot of advertisement of the chaos.
Right.
Because there's been a lot more good. I Am a Gentleman got a nice award this year. Champs Vondell Singleton got a nice award this year and got an honorary doctorate degree. And so it's still hard finding that balance. But let's deal with the obvious biggest thing of 2025 is Donald J. Trump once again taking over the presidency of the United States, these United States of America. And I can say this. Now, let me start with this. Can you say what was the best thing somebody said to you in 2025, and what was the worst thing directly someone said to you in 2025? I'll start it off. A friend of mine on TikTok equated me. I put up a post talking about white pastors who were telling another white pastor on this podcast that if his children are going into an unknown area, that if it's a black area, that they have to be 30 times more careful. And from me putting this post up, a friend of mine told me that I was no different than a white supremacist. By posting that up and continuing the language. Didn't deal with what the dude said, just dealt with what I said and what I posted. And, at the end of the day, the scriptures say the hurt of a friend is faithful. Take it whichever way you want to. But I'm like, wow. It appears to me that anytime somebody black says anything about this president, there are people who are black who take issue with it. There are people who still send me in my inbox DMs about the Democratic Party. And what I say to them is that the Democratic Party is not in control. I don't have an issue with you talking about the Democratic Party at all, because I've been put on blast for talking about them too. But the Democratic Party is not in control right now. So why are you still sending me stuff that Obama did in 2008 when Obama, he'd been chilling with his wife, Michelle, for a long time now. All his kids have finished college and are grown. Why is he still coming out of your mouth? So I think that was probably the worst thing somebody said to me this year, equating me to a white supremacist and racist pastors. And I just thought that was beyond insulting. It really let me know the person doesn't know who I am at all. That's what it taught me, because I was posting a lot of content on TikTok earlier in the year, and I'm pretty unbiased in my approach. It's just saying things about Democrats doesn't get you the same attention as saying anything about Republicans. And so with this guy taking office again, we're talking about a convicted felon. We're talking about a man who was pretty much the Supreme Court just gave carte blanche to do whatever he wants to do in office. But outside of those, I'll call those little things that are just obvious. The biggest impact for this administration I have witnessed personally in higher ed academia. The attack against higher ed institutions has been ridiculous. The loss of federal funding for research institutions throughout the country has been staggering, and it has sparked a lot of university layoffs. I was talking with an executive on Saturday night at an event, and he was telling me that one of the major universities here, they literally just wiped out almost 300 positions that they had open that they had to just get rid of to save money, and then they probably ended up laying off about 100 people. But layoffs are still coming. This year coming up, universities are going to be going through another wave again. I have seen a direct impact of this man's leadership and this farce that he called Doge that didn't really do anything at all except build Elon Musk pockets. What do y'all say?
Okay. Well, I guess to answer your question, the craziest thing that somebody said was nothing, because I have a reputation of being Robin laughs. People don't say a lot of, well, people, I'll take it back. People online, like if I post something and they don't know me, they will say something like if I made a comment about the administration, something like that. But people who know me do not say crazy stuff to me.
They don't want to see the Sith. I should have had a Sith Lord come out from behind you right then.
Right.
Put the Darth Vader sound come up on the screen.
Right.
All the lights go black.
Right. So, well, you know what? Okay, so look, and this is so nominal, because every now and then I'll talk about a celebrity. And I think I may have posted something about Toni Braxton, Toni and Tamar, and Tamar, she can be wild. I love Toni Braxton. She probably can do no wrong in my eyes. But I commented about the show, the dynamics, and Tamar is the youngest one, and Tony's the oldest one. And the person was like, well, you don't know about Toni Braxton and the things she do, and talking about Tamar. And I'm thinking, none of us know either one of them directly. However, without Toni, there is no Braxton family values at all. So I think for me, people commenting on posts, and they don't comment on anything like any of the good stuff I do, like the giveaways to men, or the community work that I've done or do, and the people that I help. So I guess it would be on a broader scale. It's like, you don't comment on anything good that I talk about, anybody that I help. You don't volunteer, you don't donate. But I post something about a celebrity that neither one of us know, that's opinion based, and you hop on my post and you want to argue.
Yep.
So that's the kind of, and then like, these are people that you actually know. Sometimes you know, and I'm thinking like you. But what I had to learn, because I've gotten older, I don't jump in and fight as much. I just be like, okay, you're right. Maybe you are right. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I'm not even giving you energy, because we don't know Toni or Tamar. But yeah, so
that's an interesting point, because I get the same thing. I'll say something again about I'll forward it. So what I started doing on Tony Briscoe Live, before one of my pages, Robin, just went offline. Not even a trace of it. I even did a Google search, could not be found. That was Tony Briscoe Live. It just disappeared. I'm like, Antwan, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But then I was in a cybersecurity room, and they was like, no, man, Facebook, if they see a page, and I'm like, first of all, I only had like 300 subscribers on the page, if even that many. It was not a lot of people. And they were like, yeah, they don't care. They look at the content. And so what happened was, and I'll just say, Black people in my circle started taking issue with anything I said about the administration. So all I would do is just post messages of white people talking about the administration. So since I can't say anything,
right.
the page disappeared, gone. There is not even a trace of Tony Briscoe live to this day at all. And I never said anything controversial on there. I mainly talked, this show was broadcast on there. I rarely said anything controversial, disrespectful. I shared an opinion. I would follow up with facts on some of those opinions, but the page just disappeared, Robin. It is gone from the ether.
Houdini style. Okay.
But what about you? And I'm gonna put a challenge on you though, Robin. What was the thing you said to yourself when you were unemployed that was not good? If anything at all.
Yeah, I mean, I had dark moments. I began to question my worth. I began to question my ability to compete in the world. I don't have a master's degree. I have a bachelor's degree. And so I began to think, is that truly just outdated? Like, am I enough? And so I struggled with that a great deal.
Yeah.
Antwan will tell you, I am not the techiest person. So sitting and realizing there was a time I used to have a typewriter. Okay, so let me just date myself. We talk typewriter. So I've gone from typewriter to computer, age. And now to see this whole AI, that can be scary for some people. And even for myself, and it's just like, oh my goodness, did I miss the wave to be able to elevate myself to that next level, to, be able to compete? So I think the darkest thing for me was, am I worthy? Can I do this? Am I going to get another chance? Because, I'll turn 50 in a few days here, January 1st. And so thank you. That's a whole nother thing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, who's gonna want to hire someone, my age? I got a head full of gray hair. I've not colored it. So I'm like, even aesthetically, if I get an interview and they look at me, are they gonna see an old person that they don't want to? I was all in my head, about it. But
that's good. That's good.
But God.
Yeah, but God, thank you for sharing that. What's going on, Nate Grams? Nate Grams' podcast has been taking off. This dude has been interviewing some of everybody on the music scene. So keep pushing, Nate Grams. Appreciate you, man, always. Hey, it's time for another challenge too, Nate Grams. He put a challenge out a couple of years ago that I actually won. he put a beat challenge out that I actually won a couple of years ago. So looking forward to him doing that again. And he actually had a cash prize for it. And I didn't know about it. I just said, man, take that money and pour it back into the work that you're doing, brother.
There you go.
Pour it back in. So, yeah, so 2025 has been a ride. AI has taken a lot of the dominant stage, and it's something that people just need to be aware of. And you can learn about generative AI on YouTube. If you're not playing around with any of the language models, the Chat GPTs, I think Grok is one from Elon Musk. I've never been on there for obvious reasons. Perplexity is one. If you are a student, Gemini is now free. Gemini, from what I understand, is one of the safest ones, generative AI models that you could use. But just start looking it up. Just start looking it up and just getting familiar with it and understanding what it is. I've got you by some years, Robin. So I'm older. So don't worry about turning 50. I done been there, done that. Okay, you gonna be fine. But I thank you for sharing though that experience as far as, do I have to start over again? And I think that's something that I keep with me to this day. Like, man, I left a job after 13 and a half years and I was nervous. I got a family to take care of. What if I get there and all these fears come up, right? Yeah. And I have I believe I've grown in faith to trust God more and more. But I would be remiss if I would not say that this has also been a year that has challenged not my beliefs, but my faith. Not my beliefs, but my faith. And it's moving from a place of cliche scripture. And this is something Antwan and I talk about, because there are answers I don't have. I'm an ordained minister. I'm in the Word, going to be focused highly on the Word more next year, because I've been put in a position now with a certain group of people where I have to really be able to articulately defend the faith. So I've got to take some old tools that I knew and sharpen those tools up. But we talk about the prosperity of the wicked laid up for the righteous. We've heard that thing quoted 400,000 times over the last 10 days or 10 years. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying. And then when we look around and we just see the wicked prospering so much. And I don't want to get into the, you're looking at the natural, you shouldn't be looking at the natural. And I'm like, I'm human, bro. I'm going to look at the natural. I know the spiritual's there. But when we look and we see 4 men who, if they gave each American $2 million, they would still be billionaires. Like that should be scary. Yeah. That if one person, what's our population in the United States? Where are we at? I know the world is like almost at 1 million, right? I mean, 8 billion. So what's our population? We're at 348 million. Let's take the high of that, right? And I just did this on, they did the Chat GPT pulled this record from census.gov, right? 2025 with ongoing growth, 348 million. Imagine that there are people in this world, 4 or 5 people. But let's just take, as a matter of fact, 348 million. Bloomberg, when he ran for president, spent 450 million. So let's just make it just how crazy this is. Now, first of all, don't take me out of context. You're looking at 3 people on this screen who believe in work and doing for self. We're not looking for charity or handouts from anybody. But I want to put this in perspective when we talk about wealth. That there is one person who can give every American, all of us, if you take the kids out, that may put the count at what? 320 million. Every adult, they're able to give every adult $2 to $3 million and still be a billionaire. That should kind of be crazy. Elon Musk just got would they give him a 10-year, $10 trillion payout? Mm-hmm. I don't think it was billion. I think it was trillion. Somebody said they can look it up real quick and, but I mean, it's major.
Trillionaire.
It was trillion, right?
Trillion, yeah.
Yeah. One person. Mm-hmm. One person. And so he talks about his vision of having a moneyless country. The dude who came here illegally, by the way, but that's another story. Like, imagine being at a place where we're like Star Trek, where everything is done through a barter system, where there's a world where there are no money transactions and everybody's just able to get along. I don't know how we envision that. But in talking about this year, the amount of wealth that was gained in the stock market for those folks who are trading options, like those are things that young people are starting to gravitate towards when it comes to financial freedom in this country. Wall Street Trapper says it. Chris Jackson says it. The market knows no color. But having the capital to be able to play in that kind of market, it's strong. The illusion of you being able to take $1,000, like they paint it on your little social media feeds, the illusion of you being able to take $1,000 and turn it into $30,000 in a month, that's crazy talk. But if it's in the hands of the right person who can help you out, then maybe it's a bit different. So let's move on. Let's talk about 2026. What are some of the, well, before we do that, Robin, I would love for you to chime in. This is a conversation Antwan and I've had on several occasions. GoFundMe's are still popular for funeral expenses.
And that's a shame. I mean, it's really sad. GoFundMe was never set up for that purpose to begin with. But the fact that it's being used for funeral, and GoFundMe takes a percentage of the money anyway, so you don't really get all of it to begin with. But as a life insurance agent, I think it is our job to really share the benefits of life insurance. And I do understand that a lot of people, specifically, in the Black and Brown communities, don't like to talk about life insurance because we associate that with death. And we don't like to talk about death or planning for death. And I think that's just kind of an old school mentality. And so life insurance can be used for so many other things. For instance, I got my daughter life insurance when she was a baby, and my father got life insurance on her without me even knowing about it
Mm.
when she was a baby. Um, and so, as we talk about life insurance, when she got older and she wanted a car, guess what I'm doing? I'm taking money out of my life insurance, tax free, for a down payment for her car.
Was that a whole life policy?
No, actually, it is an index universal life policy.
IUL. Okay.
IUL, yes.
Yeah.
And so just understanding the difference between term and whole life and IULs, and compounding interest inside of the IULs and how to utilize that, it's very important. And so I just think that oftentimes those life insurance agents that are out here, we need to do a better job of sharing information, but I also feel like people need to do a better job of receiving the information as well. Um, I will be the first one to say, if you're in my family and you know that I'm a life insurance agent and I've talked to you about it and you've chosen not to get life insurance and something happens, don't ask me for no GoFundMe money. It's not
Mm.
happening.
Mm.
Absolutely not. It's not happening. And so I encourage everyone. I think that it's a big part of your financial foundation that needs to be incorporated. If you do not have life insurance, you need to reach out and touch somebody, because especially when it comes to, for me right now, I have two grandchildren. I've purchased life insurance policies for them instead of toys.
Mm.
You're not going to remember toys, but I'm going to start a foundation for you. And the amount of your premium amount is going to stay the same, whether you are 1 years old or 60 years old. So
Mm.
why not get it younger when it's cheaper, and stop waiting until you near death or you got all these ailments and you're elderly, then prices increase. And so that's when people have issues and say life insurance is too expensive. Well, when
Trust
you
me.
wait till you're 80, plus years old, and you got diabetes and, congenital heart failure and all these other issues, well, yes, because it's still a business. Who wants to insure a life that trajectory looks like it's going to end very soon versus, being able to get that earlier? So,
I learned the difference recently with the
mhm,
policy from the cost for me and the
uh-huh.
cost of my wife is drastically
It is,
different based on health and fitness.
yeah.
And she's the pillar of health.
Mm.
And I was like, oh man, that's gonna be your price. Goodbye. Go.
Yeah.
Wait, that's mine?
And mortality rate, like who's
Yeah,
look to
yeah,
live longer, men or
yeah.
women. Yeah. It,
It
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 is a difference.
matters. It
It does matter.
matters, right? And that's
Mm.
one of the things for 2026 that I think everybody should really gravitate towards is that if you do not have a life insurance policy, get educated and get one and understand what IULs are, understand what term policies are, understand what whole life policies are, and make the best decision for your family, not necessarily the best decision somebody's telling you to make. Make the one
Mhm.
that's best for your family, but at least have something. The average funeral cost has gone from $10,000 to about 12 to 15,000. You
Mhm.
know, if you're doing a Muslim funeral, I think Jewish funerals are around the same because they have to bury within 3 days of
Mhm.
death.
Yeah.
And so those funerals run around 6,500. And so cremation's about 6,000 now, between 6,000 and
Mhm.
7,000 now. And that's just because of the rising cost of everything. And I think some people are just rising their costs in general. So I
Right.
think one of the things for 2026 that people really need to start embracing and start doing the research in these last couple of days of 2025 is really ensuring that your ducks are in a row and in order. I have spoken to two people over the last 2 weeks. They have no beneficiary set up. They own property with no trust.
Oh,
And it's just to think like life can, there was a 10-car pileup on I-94 today, right? Like life can happen so fast. And these are things that you really want to look into. One of the things I've also been sharing with people who have family members who are getting elderly,
mhm.
to start watching out for signs of memory gaps and memory loss. It's really a time to start having those conversations that we don't want to have, because once a person goes full into dementia, you can't even get a power of attorney unless you go through great means to get that done. There are just things to have in place now. So I think there exists a trust issue in our community that we have to get over and start having these conversations about having these things in a trust, not a will. A will will not keep you out of probate.
It will not.
You have to have a trust. I think revocable trusts are the norm. Irrevocable trusts have a bit more restrictions on them, but do the research. I'm just throwing things out for you to grab, bite, and just do the research on to have these things. I have a trust now, but I'm still learning about things I need to have in there. And, I'm learning about these things and what we have to do. But I think 2025 is ending. 2026 really has to be a year of true focus for us. And this is why I just said I was not aligned in 2025. The most successful I completed a course I wanted to complete, and I completed grad school successfully. And that was a last minute decision to get into grad school because I was still hesitant about doing it. And I'm like, if I don't do it this year, I'm not going to start it at all. I know. Yeah. And so I got it done. I made it through. I was successful. And so that's going to be an ongoing goal. And I can't just stop there, right? There has to be these 30-day breakthroughs that I have in the process of those things. And that includes the work I want to do on the album. So before I let you fine folks go, talk about for things that you want to share. Robin, what's your 2026? What do you envision? Not for the entire year, like let's say the first 2 months of the year. What are some things that you want to accomplish?
Oh my. That's a good question. So I think for me, like I mentioned on this particular call, like I'm not techie, right? I do want to get past my discomfort with technology, specifically in AI. And I will say that being on this show has already kicked some of that off because I'm not like this public kind of speaker. So this was very nerve-wracking for me. So thank you, Antwan, for helping to push me in this direction, only because I have another friend that is talking about a podcast and wants me to be on it, and I've been staying away. But I think you giving me this opportunity to be on here, Tony, and Antwan for encouraging me, that has been one thing that I've wanted to do, and I've accomplished it early. I want to do more traveling with my husband. I definitely want to do that. And I need to align more spiritually focused. I will be starting teaching our ladies class at church. So I want to make sure that I am in a very spiritual, positive place, that when I share God's word with these women, that it's well received and that I'm on point and I'm not leading anyone astray. So I want to be aligned with that focus as well, because people's souls are at stake and I don't want to be held accountable for sending someone down the wrong path. So I want to be focused in that area as well.
Imagine that kind of accountability right there. I mean, I've been seeing clips. I guess the pastors of LA have been circulating on different podcasts now. And I love what you just said. I don't want to be responsible for leading people astray or down the wrong way. I love that. Yeah. That just shows true heart and the intent and the importance of God's word and how we handle him with others. That's beautiful. I love it, Robin. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we should say, like, we talk, I got to get this done. No, like, I'm paraphrasing Lionel Harris, but because our seasons are all off here, like winter's a time of hibernation. So he just channels that to say, hey, 2 months of planning and be ready to execute at the third month. Or at the first quarter is all planning. And then the rest of the year is execution and carrying things out, right? So it's building a framework for how do you want the rest of the year to look for you, and then be prepared for the curveballs that are going to come, because whenever greatness happens, resistance always shows up. And so it's keeping those things in mind. Like, I'm sure 2025, when you were laid off, you were like, man, this is a new experience. And I remember in 2010, I was laid off, beginning of 2010. And that was 7.5 of the longest months in my life, not being able to find a job, even as a temporary worker. And I was in IT, but I'm like, bro, I'll take an office job. I'll pack, I'll flip mail. I'll do whatever. And, it was a full-time job, looking for a full-time job. And so
Yeah.
I understand, but you were resilient and you hung in there, and now you're employed again. Antoine, what about you, man? Like, what are some of the things what do you want to see for the group 30-day breakthrough first? Like, for the group as a whole, for those who are tuning in, Cherie, hello. My good friend Tonya on the East Coast, hello to you, Tanya, and my cousin Fred. Greetings to all of you. But Antoine, what do you want to see for the breakthrough group? And then what do you want to see for yourself?
Well, for the 30-day breakthrough group, I want well, of course, this year I wanted a gathering. I wanted it to be um, more, more collective reporting or posting, because oftentimes, it's you have your people that are. Some people don't like the spotlight. Some people are more vocal. Some people are more out there. So, I just want more people participating and sharing their goals and reaching out for support, because most of the time, what I do, like in regards to like monitoring the group, I go to people's pages too, because sometimes people they'll share a goal on their page, and I'm like, I go back and I'll inbox them or I'll text them like, hey, I see that goal. So I want people to kind of bring their goals to the group, because I think what I've learned is that when people know, when you put it out there, people can hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So I just want more people to be more vocal, because I think for years, and you may have heard it, the new me, oh, you a new me, new year, new me person. I hate that, because you hear a lot of times when people are going like to work out, it's like, oh, the new you, new me people are coming to work out. So it's like, and I'm thinking, so you're shaming people for creating goals or resolutions, or people like, oh, I don't create resolutions. So I guess I want to remove the stigma, because I think it's a stigma now of creating resolutions / goals. People have been shamed into not doing it. So I want to remove the shame from not achieving the particular goal. If you got a quarter of a way there, if you got halfway there, I want to celebrate that. So I guess one of the biggest things, I want to remove the stigma for the first quarter year. Remove the stigma of creating a resolution, because there's nothing wrong with saying that you're going to do better or you're going to try to do better. You should vocalize. You should. If if you don't want to get better, something's wrong with you. So I think it's kind of like what was the movie where Eddie Murphy was the vampire, and he turned into the
Vampire in Brooklyn.
right, and he was like, "Good is evil, and evil is good." It's like, okay, we've made creating resolutions a bad thing. It's like, no, who taught you that? So, removing the stigma of creating a goal. That's one of my main things for the group.
Yeah.
And I guess for me is I'm living more. I know Robin is like, because I know like we all kind of graduated the same year, and so like a lot of my friends are starting to post these. They're hitting 50, so I'm further on down the line in October, Lord willing. So I like travel like Robin. I don't travel as much. I had a passport for 10 years and never used it. So I did renew my passport, but I never used the first one. So
We're going to get a stamp for you.
right. I want to enjoy life. I want to get out and do stuff, because I really do not do stuff to that magnitude. So I want to create experiences, memorable experience. I want to do more. I don't want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great.
What about you? What besides grad school?
Yeah, but besides grad school, again, I told you with this album approach, like I want to hire someone to market it. And so I'll have to build a budget for that. But my main goal within the first few months, because we have to get another car now, is to really work with my wife this week so we can just start building up a budget, a consistent budget that we live by. And she is not the spender in the family. I am. So it's me that needs to be put on lockdown. And so I've been using Rocket Money to kind of trace a lot of my spending, but I've also found out I just had something renewed that I didn't want to renew. So I've got to get a grasp on everything out there that's on auto renew to either take it off of auto renew or cancel it altogether.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think those are the things. So getting a hold of the budget and then minimizing some things, that may be meaning, I may have to get Netflix that come with commercials as opposed to Netflix that just pays the whole movie. May have to get rid of some things just to really consolidate money and resources. I think this year is going to be a very trying year. I think families are going to have to lean on each other a lot. And if I don't start making room to do that, it's gonna be costly for people, and it's gonna be costly for us. And so I think that's my biggest thing. And but really, Antoine, I really want to get this album off the ground, at least get a couple of singles out, at least get a couple of singles out by June. But I definitely want this to be a special project, and I'm not in the mode of just doing music just to do music anymore. I want there to be some benefits of it. I think making this partly a spoken word project, I think will be great too. I did have a guy who asked me, was I going to do a release party? And I said, probably not. Because again, release parties come with resources. And the way places are charging to rent nowadays, man, it's getting costly. I'm sure I could probably call the Bobos and work out something with them. But I believe I don't like asking for discounts. If I need your services, I'm gonna pay you. I'm not asking you for a discount. If I was going downtown, I wouldn't ask for a discount. So I'm not going to ask you for a discount if it's in our community. And so that's still up in the air for right now. One thing I'm thinking about doing, though, that's going to cost me is having a 55th birthday party.
Yeah, you should.
I've never had a birthday party.
Okay.
Correction. It wasn't a party, but, my friend, his wife's family, his wife at the time, my 23rd birthday, they had a cake for me when I went out to their place in Sauk Village. And so I've never forgotten that. And so that's one of the things, I'm thinking about doing. But that's what I have. Those are some of the things I want to work on. I think budget is my priority and really getting aligned. I've got to read a chapter of a book. So I want to read more this year as well. Not just I've been doing a lot of Audible. I want to read more this year. And so I've got a book now. I think it has 10 chapters in it. I'm going to read a chapter a day until I finish it. So, those are the things I want to be committed to. But really, I just want to be in alignment. In order to be in alignment, I've just got to be consistent in community. And part of that is the Slay Your Goals community. And the other part of that is the 30-day breakthrough community. So that's what I want to do.
All right.
It can be done. It can be done. Absolutely.
Tony Durant, my man. Yeah, Tony Durant, he went through this year. He lost his sister, bro. So we're still praying your strength, man. Like I said, if not me, people close to me have just lost a lot of valuable key people in their lives this year. And I think that's what's been really, man, I've been thankful, but also like, I know the time is going to come where it starts hitting my family hard. What I don't want is a funeral to bring reconciliation with people.
Right.
I've got a cousin who texts me actually on Christmas Day, and I miss him. But when you say you need space, I'm going to give you space. I'm not blood of cuz. I'm not running up behind anybody, but I miss him and I love him. We had great theological conversations with each other, and so he reached out, and I'm just going to take that as an olive branch and, go slow with it, go slow with it. But yeah, I want 2026. I want to see more unity amongst the people. And I know all I could do is pray that the Lord brings that, because there's nothing I think directly I could do to that, outside of prayer and outside of those who I'm in community with, pushing the envelope. One thing about being at church is the generation of young people that we have now. I mean, these kids come, and I've had to tolerate a few cuss words here and there and teach them a better way. Our generation would just beat you and kick you out. Well, that's, the generation that I came up under, they beat you and kick you out of the church. And, I'm not trying to be that. It's almost, Robin, exactly what you said. I'm trying to be the light in dark places. And one of the things my spiritual mom taught me when I yelled at the kids one day, she was like, "Are you crazy? Don't do them like you were done. Be better." That was the biggest challenge I got from her. And so even when I approach people, I can still be firm, but I want this generation to see love more than hell, to see the love of God more than the judgment and the brimstone of God. I want them to see more of his love. I think those are the things. I want to see. You got my number, Fred. Just hit me up, man. We're going to be off the end a little bit, so hit me up tonight. But other than that, family, I first of all, Robin, I want you to know you have a great presence while you're on screen.
Well,
So
thank you.
you should really know that and walk in that and use your class to really perfect that which concerns you. And just watch God move and do things, through your life. You're amazing. And the testimony that you have, I think every wife needs to hear that testimony. The fact that you said you want to travel more with your husband this year has even more meaning since you shared the earlier story of having to lean on him,
Yeah.
and I just think that's just a powerful testament to who he is, because we can be oblivious sometimes, like, you've had a problem all this time, really? I never knew that. But I know what it's like when you talk about that strong woman image that you have to uphold, and the softness that comes with realizing you don't have to be everything. God is everything. The Lord is everything for us, and to really grow in faith this year is a big piece for me, because this world can wear on you, and seeing the prosperity of the wicked. I know the Psalm in David when he says, well, when I looked and saw their end, but I ain't looking at their end. I'm looking at their right now. I'm just going to be honest. And right now, these cats looking awfully friggin' good. But I know God is with me. I know God is with us. But just dealing with the reality of what we're seeing, we don't walk by faith. We walk by sight. But there are times in this world, where we may feel like we don't see God or feel him. One brother said on Saturday night at his retirement party, he said, God doesn't talk to me like that, but I heard his voice about this retirement. And I thought that was so powerful, because our faith walk, we don't have communication with God like the prophets did of the Old Testament. We don't get the encounter that the Apostle Paul had with Jesus himself on the road to Damascus when he was knocked off a horse. We don't have that. We have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit that is called to be our comforter, and he's called to lead us in all things that pertain to life and godliness. And that is not an audible. So I'm very weary when I use the words to say, I heard God say. I'll say the Holy Spirit guided me in this direction. I pray that the Lord open up this door and this window of opportunity for me, and that even if I make the decision that is wrong, that, Father, you said that what the enemy means for bad, that you will set up for my good. So even if I make a wrong decision, I need you to cover me in it. So I choose those words very carefully. I've seen too many people who are still single when they said, the Lord showed me who my husband is. Baby, you 70 now. You holding on to that? Okay.
But I think it's important too, Tony, as you talk about the dwelling of the Holy Spirit, but we also have to go and put our faith in that word. Like, those scriptures are not there for entertainment. And so if we're going to pray, that's our way of talking to God. We also need to be able to listen to what he has to say. And those scriptures talk to us all day long. And it can't be a one-way street. And I think sometimes people like to treat God like a genie. Let me rub this and ask for all I want. But then we don't want to hear what he has to say either. The word.
My name is the Endurer. And people are like, that's a spoken word name. Like, no, that's the name the Holy Spirit gave to me in a bed of tears on 7500 South Shore Drive in apartment 502. He was like, you're the Endurer. And nobody wants the fruit of long suffering. Everybody wants joy, peace, kindness, meekness, love. Nobody wants the fruit of long suffering. And I ain't mad at nobody for not wanting. Who wants that? But when you look at the amount of death that Antwan has had probably the last 6 years, I've got a buddy, Terrence. Oh my goodness, man. I think T went on a 10-year streak. It was, every time we turned around, we were at a funeral for this brother's family. Every time we turned around, it almost seemed like 4 or 5 deaths a year would just hit him, from his brother, then his mom, and just on and on and on. So I think there are seasons of long suffering that we all have to endure, and we don't know how long those are going to be. But I think we have to be in community. And Antwan knows, he'll ask me questions and I'll be like, bro, I have zero answer for you, pal. You know, he's the analytical one. You probably know more than me how analytical he is, Robin. He is the gotta make sense analytical one. But we need that in the body of Christ too. We need that kind of mind in the body of Christ as well, to be able to break down to those who need that kind of listening or that kind of understanding. And so thank you, Sister Sherry. Appreciate you. Well, fam, hey, I know I've held y'all long enough. Folks, 2026 is here.
Yes.
It's around the corner. The 30-day breakthrough group is there for you. It's on Facebook. Just put in 30-day breakthrough group. You will not be able to miss it. I guarantee you won't. I'm a part of the group. Robin's part of the group. Mr. Opinionated Antwan is part of the group. And we're just here to build community. I want to thank you all for your faithful commitment to Message Monday. Again, for those who tuned in late, this is my final broadcast of Message Monday. It has been a tremendous joy, but I am believing God for a new season and something new and something different that will be after his heart. And so I appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in to the final broadcast of Message Monday. But don't let this be the final broadcast of your life. You've got some things to build. You've got some goals to accomplish. And you've got some people you need to make amends with moving into the new year. Not everybody's meant to be in your life forever. But if unforgiveness is on your heart, you just need to get right with God and make that thing right if you can. And if you can't, kick the dust off your feet and keep it moving, family. Because if people don't want you in their life, there's no reason or purpose for you to stick around and be there. But I thank you all, really do, for the support of Message Monday over the years. I'm not sad about this. I've just got to get some alignment done. And again, if you may see me go live once, it may just be sharing a video or sharing something that's hot and pertinent that's going on. And I may do one more because a lot of laws take place January 1st in Illinois. And I do like to do a broadcast talking about what some of those laws are, so people are aware. WVON has been listening. They've had somebody on today talking about new laws that are passing. And I'm going to just say this, Governor Pritzker, giving people the power for assisted suicide is a problem for me. It's a major issue. And I worked at a hospital we were selling drugs, $25,000 a pill for terminally ill patients. Robin, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just to keep them at a place of peace while they transition. I think this is a Pandora's box that is being opened up. And Illinois is not the only state, but there's a few states who have this. But assisted suicides for those terminally ill patients, people are going to be advocating for. I just don't want to be here anymore. And I think it's going to expand to a place that I just think once we open up a door, things always happen with those doors. I'm just not in agreement with this. No, I don't want anybody to suffer. There are ways to help people ease. There's ways to make things comfortable for people transitioning in death, and giving them a pill that they have to take themselves. I don't think that's the answer, Governor Pritzker. I think it's a very, very dark place that will cast a shadow of spiritual warfare over Illinois like we've never seen before in our lives. So I'll just say that to the governor. That's all I got, family. Thank y'all for tuning in to Message Monday over the years. I appreciate you all. When Tony Briscoe comes back, if it be the will of the Lord, it will be his will. Other than then, catch me on TikTok for content. And we are out of here. As always, may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. What you want to talk about? Yep, you can find it here. Message Monday, bring your love and joy into the atmosphere. Ain't no profanity, we keep the gospel clean. Ensuring all praise goes to Yeshua, my king. We talk about news, we talk about faith. A podcast for men so we can all be great. Join in the conversations with topics of your choice. My opinion doesn't matter if you don't hear God's voice. We lifting up the people, we counteracting evil. Be respectful in your comments, so please keep it civil. Message Monday. Hey, let's go.